You got a problem with us, bro? You got a problem with us, bro?
All right, Shalom. There's your brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah, and a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word, in all truth and in sincerity. All right, Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit. Kodash is holy. Akyam is brothers. Akwath is sisters. Shalom means peace. And Yashar Allah is Israel in ancient Paleo-Hebrew. All right, this is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. And it reads, "Therefore, rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." All right, and I want to go into a lesson through the spirit on the recent uprising in the UK. All right, dealing with Esau Edom, who is the so-called white man, as he's known today. All right, his biblical nationality is Esau Edom. All right, and the scriptures talk about a perpetual hatred that he's had for Jacob. All right, and you're going to start to see this play out more and more as we get toward the end. All right, the mask is going to come off. All right, this veneer of equality is going to be destroyed, because ultimately Esau Edom, the so-called white man, in his heart of hearts, he hates you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and the other nations, but he has a special hatred for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 35 and 2, and it reads, "Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it." All right, now when you go into Mount Seir, you know, because we mention it, but let's just get it in the blue letter. All right, it says Seir. All right, and that's Shayar. All right, Shayar. And you go here to the first, it says Seir, hairy or shaggy, but this is the point. Part 8 says, Patriarch of the Horites, the inhabitants of Edom, before the descendants of Esau, the Edomites. All right, and then you get down to B, it says the land of Edom, south of the Dead Sea. All right, so this is referring to Esau Edom. All right, so when you see Mount Seir, it's referring to Esau Edom. And again, Esau Edom is the so-called white man as he's known today. All right, the Lord has a perpetual hatred for him. All right, his indignation lasts forever concerning Esau. But Esau also has a hatred for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And we're going to continue to show this. All right, Ezekiel 35 and 3, it says, "And say unto it, Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord." Here's the point, verse 5, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity and the time that their iniquity had an end. Now, when you read this in the NLT, it says, your eternal hatred for the people of Israel led you to butcher them when they were helpless, when I had already punished them for all their sins, with the point being an eternal hatred. All right, this is why the Lord said, why would you trim your ways to seek love? All right, the so-called white man is never going to wake up and have compassion on you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, he's had a perpetual hatred, and that will continue. Now, when you go into the context of that video you saw, and I want to get this article, it's a far-right protest, and it's based on a child murder. All right, I believe 3 children were murdered, and we're going to get it in this article. And they assumed that the person who killed the children were Muslims, right? So you would think that they would have this type of hatred for Ishmael. They would go out there and be beating the shit out of Ishmaelites. But they found a Jake in the crowd, and they pulled that Jake, they jumped on him, which shows you that that perpetual hatred is still relevant, man. And what you're going to see is Esau Edom really take his mask off. All right, because he's always hated you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It's just in this day and age, he's had a certain level of comfort where he doesn't have to express it. But as things get harder for the average Edomite, they're going to show you how they really feel about you. All right, so let's read a little bit of this. All right, it says far-right riots erupt in UK in the wake of child murders. All right, it says far-right anti-immigration demonstrations stoked by conspiracy theories and AI-generated images spread on social media spilled over into violence in cities across the nation. All right, and there's another point that we're going to make, Lord willing. All right, it says London, the United Kingdom, woke up Sunday morning to city streets covered in debris and smoldering rubbish as a weekend of far-right anti-immigration demonstrations stoked by conspiracy theories spread on social media erupted into violence in 7 cities across the nation. Police arrested at least 100 people, and riot police wearing helmets and holding shields came out in force as Prime Minister Keir Starmer pledged to take action against extremists. All right, now let me get to the point. All right, because I want to get to the cause of why they're protesting. All right. It says the latest demonstrations follow a week of riots in the country after 3 young girls were killed in a knife attack at a Taylor Swift themed dance party in the town of Southport. At the center of the demonstrations was a conspiracy theory spread on social media based on a lie that the perpetrator was Muslim, an asylum seeker, or both. Less than 3 hours after the attack on the girls, AI-generated images were shared on X by an account called Europe Invasion, depicting a man in traditional Muslim dress waving a knife outside the UK Houses of Parliament. The post has since been viewed over 900,000 times. A TikTok account with no previous content that called for protests near the attack site also amassed almost 60,000 views within hours, a spokesperson for Tech Against Terrorism told The Guardian. And what does this remind you of, right? You know, when I read this, it reminds me of what they used to do to Jake. All right, accuse Jake of something. All right, fabricate something and use that as an excuse to go burn up Jake cities, Jake businesses, lynch Jake without a fair trial. This shows you this the devil the Bible speaks of, man. Esau Edom, the so-called white man. All right. And in that video, the reason I shared that clip of this, that clip before this lesson is because I want to highlight something important, is that Esau has a perpetual hatred for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They could make the argument about immigration and everything else, but somehow, some way, they always include you niggas in it, man. You Hispanics and Native Americans in it. Because this is who this man is. All right. He's not pretending. This is why in Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, in the 10th verse, it says this: never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest, when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beast? So you've already been warned, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's why the Lord has the prophets out there on the highways and hedges, to expose this man for who he actually is. This is the devil the Bible speaks of. And scriptures advise us to never trust our enemy, because this hatred goes back, it goes back to the garden as well. But when you think about recent, it's that Jacob and Esau enmity, so to speak. All right. Matter of fact, let's get that. All right. This is Genesis 27:41. And it reads, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And they've had that sentiment, all right, forever, when you really think about Esau, Edom. That's why the scriptures talk about, remember Edom. All right. In the day where they said, raise it, raise it. Matter of fact, this man hasn't changed. All right, let me see if I can get that real quick. Yep. This is Psalms 137:7, and it reads, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Because this enmity between so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and the so-called white man isn't recent. It's ancient. All right, that's why in Ezekiel, the 35th chapter, it says an eternal hatred. All right, this goes back. This is ancient. All right, but this shows you that when Esau is under duress, when these Edomites are starving, when they're in a position of difficulty, their hate is exposed. And as the scriptures say, their rust have not altogether gone away, man. All right, let's go here, Lord willing. Boom. All right, so I want to grab Sirach, the 12th chapter, and I want to get the 10th verse in the Good News translation. All right, it says, never trust an enemy. His wickedness is as destructive as rust. Watch out and be on guard against him. Even if he acts ever so humble, he is like a metal mirror that rusts away if you don't keep it polished. All right. So that hatred is always there. All right. It's just been covered, so to speak, through Esau being comfortable. But as they become more and more uncomfortable, you're going to see that hate come out. All right. This is Psalms 10:1. Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after Yahweh Shemel Shai. The Most High is not in all his ways. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. All right, because a lot of jakes are seduced by Esau being humble at the job, the things that they say on the news. But when you really look at Esau and his actions, especially when they're in a position of difficulty, you find out that hatred is still there, man. All right, and this far right protest that's happening, all right, in the UK, eventually there's going to be sedition all across the planet. All right. Matter of fact, let's go here. Lord willing. Yep. This is Isaiah 13 and 14, and it reads, "And it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land." And see, what you're having is a division, all right? The Lord said he came to bring division. And a big part of that division, all right, is Esau beginning to be called out. Now, when Esau's backed into a corner and lies don't work anymore, he goes for his first weapon, which is the literal sword. And that's why he's going to come down with great wrath. All right. Not just against you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but against his own government, especially when you deal with Babylon the Great, which is America. Because these protests that are happening in the UK eventually is going to bleed over into Babylon the Great. You already seen protests in these years, you know, Antifa, the alt-right, all right, the Proud Boys. But these things are going to increase, especially as the lifestyle of these average Edomites becomes more worse, becomes bad, becomes stressful. They're going to use you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans as an outlet of frustration. All right, it's Isaiah chapter 19. You know what? Let me start up. This is Isaiah chapter 19. And I'll start at 1. All right, it says, "The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it." All right, in modern Egypt, all right, the modern day Egypt is America, Babylon the Great. All right, spiritual Sodom in Egypt. All right, verse 2 reads, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." All right, and you're going to see more uproars of the people. All right, but inside of those uproars, you're going to see the hatred of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, you're going to see that it's going to start to become more and more plain as we get closer into the end. And this was a perfect example, this clip, that they're at an anti-immigration. They're against they thought a Muslim had murdered these 3 girls, and they still found a Jake to beat on, man. Which shows you his hatred has never gone away. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying. I just wanted to bring that out through the Spirit. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah. And a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.